I promised a video, and I'm making a short video, and I'll make a whole lot more video whenever I get to tidy all this up, make sure everything's 100% working the way that I want it to work. I thought I would go ahead and show this video. I'm kind of ashamed of how Frankenstein this thing looks right at the moment, but I guess all in all it is Frankenstein. My solar array sits on top of a basic wooden structure that's connected to an old satellite dish. Okay, now the satellite dish, the motor was bad, but the gearbox was fine. So to do away with the motor, I had an old drill that was actually part of some stuff that I had years ago. The wife and I had an auction house, and I bought a whole bunch of these drills for like $2 a piece. They didn't have a battery with them. I sold most of them, but I happen to have one or two laying in storage, so what better way to get a motor to bleed off of 12 volt. Now my 12 volts that I feed to my motor comes from the battery bank. Originally I was going to use a solar panel, just a small Harbor Freight solar panel that I actually already had bought previously when we first started our solar adventure, if you will. And I happen to have this left over after I started working with the bigger, more efficient solar panels. So I just couldn't get enough amperage to actually run the little motor. Now there's no torque to this whatsoever hardly because of the gearbox. Temporary, just to keep the drill from flopping around, I used some of the extra cord I had. Yes, all my wiring looks like a total nightmare because actually in a way it is. But I know what's what. I actually drew out a wiring schematic. I have it available for the motor mechanism. All I have is east to west on this one. This one's actually semi-fixed for the north-south. I can adjust it manually, and hopefully one day maybe I can make it to where it also is self-adjusting. At this point, that's neither here nor there. I just wanted to prove that I could make this work. On my schematic, I show you a limit switch, and that's my limit switch. It comes back, and yes, again, everything is Frankenstein together. But I thought if I went ahead and showed you guys how this Frankenstein's together, you would you'd be a little more adventurous and want to share your progress too. Here's my small solar panel. It's underneath of the main solar panels, which is up there. I don't know if you can see them or not, but it's kind of the concept is that it's shadowed whenever the solar panel is actually fairly close to indirect sunlight and in direct line with the sun. Whenever the sun, show you a little bit from the road. So when the sun actually comes past the most westward, no, that wasn't real nice for video, was it? Comes past the westward panel enough, the main panel, and shines on the lower panel, it energizes a relay. Actually, it energizes two relays. And if you want to know about that, and maybe in the future whenever I get it all tidied up, I can explain a little more on that. If not, if you know a little bit about electricity, the basic wiring schematic I'll have available for you. The trash bags are there to kind of work as a shadow, if you can see there. Because I was getting too much sunlight from, I guess you go, if you will, light pollution, reflecting off of the ground and then off the bottom of the solar panels to the main solar panels to the small panels, so it would go too far. So again, that's a Frankenstein kind of a thing. I'm hoping to, once I prove everything works the way it's supposed to work. Oh, by the way, the westward motion is by that little solar panel. Then at night, whenever it gets dark, I have it's up on top, so it's hard to see, but I have a photocell, like used for dusk to dawn lights. I have this photocell set up then it energizes another relay, which is on reverse pattern. So it turns it back over in the limit switch that I showed you on the little 2x4. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of jerry rig to this, but a lot of it's going to stay the way it is. But all my wiring and stuff will be tidied up, and all my relays and connections will be inside weather resistant, either boxes or whatever, so it's more weather resistant, so it'll stand the test of time. But the limit switch lets it, whenever it goes into the reverse rotation and goes back to east, the limit switch just touches the frame of the structure when it gets so far and stops it. So it kind of works like, as being an auto mechanic for several years, the park switch on your windshield wipers. Whenever you turn the windshield wipers off and they go to park position in the same place every time. You understand what I'm talking about. So yeah, it's Frankenstein as it can be. It looks pretty rough right now. It'll never look beautiful, not from the bottom side. But once I prove everything works right, I'm going to go back and probably steel structure to hold my panels in place. Yeah, the gnats are getting in my face. And go ahead and get it to where it's more sturdy, more ready to stand the test of time. Sometimes when you're doing the mad scientist thing, you have to step out and do things a little jerry-rigged, if you will. Because, again, I found several videos of really nice solar trackers for your satellite, or not for satellite, but for your solar panels. You can spend a lot of money on them. Me, I've got, probably with relays and everything, probably about $30 in mine at this point. And back when I used to mechanic, and when I worked, it was with the volunteer fire department, took extrication classes. Every time we would cut up a car, I'd snag every fuse and every relay I could. And I probably got some in storage, but if you would see my storage, you'd understand. I'm going to sign off on this video just so I can post it so you guys can kind of get a quick idea of what's going on. Any questions, feel free to ask. Find us on Facebook and Appalachia. Oh my gosh, she changed the name a while back. Homestead Life in Appalachia. And go ahead and click the like and kind of keep an eye on us and see what all we've got going on here on the homestead. And we'll try to get you a few more videos out. We've been so busy. Sometimes it sounds easy to just start a video while you're working, but you get so into it, it's hard to get that done. But keep an eye on us and see what we got happening. Come back and see us again.